Hello everyone, welcome back to another video and welcome back to my newest Ficus Microcarpa that I have right here. And the plan for today is to repot it into its first bonsai pot. It is the end of growth season here right now, so you might ask yourself, is it a good time to repot? However, I do keep this tree as an indoor bonsai, so I am not really too worried about it reacting too harshly to the repot. So I would say let's start right away and get a close-up of this little tree and get on with the repot. So here we are. Let me just give you one more look at the tree. As you can see, a lot of growth coming here from a point where it has been cut back. So this is not a grafted tree. It is actually the normal foliage of this lower root base that it actually is. Let's take it out of the cover pot to have a bit to look at it. And you can already see a lot of roots coming through here at the bottom. So let's see if we can actually loosen them up a bit and get the tree out of this little cover pot without having to break it off. Yes, we can. So let's take a close, really close look at the roots, because I have quite some things planned for this tree and I probably don't need all of the roots, and we might actually get rid of this part of the tree right here. So this little root here. So of course this means we have to take off the soil. I'm trying to be as sensible and as careful as possible when taking it off. You can see the mixture it was in is basically mainly cocoa coir. You often find those Ficus Microcarpa coming in cocoa coir because it retains a lot of moisture, which makes it easier to take care of while in the shop. But of course at home you have a higher risk of it actually standing in too wet soil for too long and then developing root rot. So we just free off the soil. And I'm quite happy to see that most of the roots we actually have on this part right here, because that is the part that I want to keep. However, in general, not that many roots. When you look at it, the root mass is quite sad actually. We have some roots coming here from this area. We have slight inverse taper here. You always get this with Ficus Microcarpa. However, let me see, if we plant it in here, we have to get a bit more creative when potting it up then. So actually part of this soil I will mix into my anorganic mixture that I have right here, which is mainly pumice and some clay. And we just a handful of soil, and we're gonna mix some of this organic matter in here and give it a good stir up just to mix it through. Good. Let me move the rest of the soil a bit out of the way, so we have a clean spot here now to pot up. As you can see, I already put some of the mixture here at the bottom of the pot. I will try to not wire in the tree. Yes, I think we can do it without wiring it in. But first, of course, what we're going to do is take off this root right here. So I'm going to get my garden shears. I'm trying to do this as flush as possible. So we go in and we cut it off. And I'm trying to really cut it off as close as possible because, of course, where this root came off, it is slightly thicker than the rest of the tree. And this way we can already work a bit against the inverse taper that might have formed here. So I'm really just taking off as much as possible here to give it like a nice bend that should callus over them nicely and not harm the tree too much. So like this. And you can see now we have something that looks actually like a stem. It is, in comparison, actually a root. So the stem would actually only start up here, I would say. However, it gives it a nicer look than this normal bulbous look that you can get on Ficus Microcarpa. So it's just a different take on this variety, I would say. And now we have to see how we can actually place this in here. I will probably place it like this. So most of the roots actually in one direction, and I'm hoping that some roots will form further up So at a later point, we can actually cut off all this lower part right here and really only have it from a more bulbous part right here. But that of course means we need to have this under the soil, underneath the soil, to actually develop some roots. You can see here there was actually more an aerial root developing on it. And hopefully here we will see more root growth, so we can cut up off all of this part here and really have a new root base coming from this height here, I would say. So looking like this then. Question of course still is, what do we see as the front or the back? I would say this is rather the back with the bigger wound that also we will have here for a while. This, though cluttered at the moment, still could make a nice front. We will clean it up a little bit after potting it, but for now I think it is time to actually position it in the pot and see how it could look like. I'm quite happy actually with it being a bit off to the side, like this. And as I said, we just fill in our soil mixture. The pumice that I have is quite big actually, so it's the first time I'm working with pumice of that size. Just trying to give it more aeration still, because I have seen on other trees that sometimes they get a bit too moist for too long still, so I thought with giving it this more coarse and thicker pumice, we might work against that problem. So, and of course we have the lower or the smaller clay pebbles and a bit of the soil to really fill out all the area in between, so the roots have something to cling onto and to get grip and get like the nutrients that they need. So I always like to just a tiny bit of organic matter into the soil, in my opinion, goes a good and wide way. So let's move a bit to the back to give you a better view on that. But I'm quite happy with the way it looks and the way it's positioned in here in this pot. I will do one thing, just to make the soil really set in there, give it like one good bounce on the table, everything set. You can see it doesn't really move, so all good. Now I would still work a bit on the foliage. I don't want to go too harsh on the tree, as we of course have it put it through quite a lot already with actually repotting the tree today. I might have to reposition it a slight bit here, just making sure it has enough support here in the back so it doesn't in the end move over here too much. So let me just rearrange some of the pumice in here to give it that stability, which of course this pumice works great for doing that now. So another benefit of the pumice. So definitely moves better here, holds better. And let's look at the foliage. The leader I would let grow wild and free for now, so that one can grow a couple of centimeters more definitely still, because I wanted to actually thicken and get woody here from the bottom. But as you often have with Ficus Microcarpa, we have a lot of growth from one growth point, so I simply go in and take out some of those shoots that have developed from here. So here's one more, for example. The side one here is actually coming from further back, so we can leave that, but there is a tiny one coming from here that we can still take out. The same thing in the back, we have a lot coming here from an upper growth point and some here from a lower growth point. Here again, I take one out that is growing anyway more inwards, so we take that out. And from the upper growth point here also, we have one that grows more downwards that we're definitely not gonna need. And maybe the one here in the back we also take out. As I said, I don't want to go too detailed on it right now. I want to let this grow as freely as possible and just give it the chance of developing a nice healthy foliage, nice healthy canopy, and then we will see where we go from there. But for now, we do see the wound here in the back, which will callus over. I will let it open actually, because I have not had problems with like any infections getting into wounds until now in Ficus Microcarpa. So I'm just risking that for now. And one final look from all sides. I do like the bend of the tree that it naturally came in, and that it doesn't show too prominently from the front, to be honest, but from the side you see it a bit more, because I think it could be too much actually if you show it all the way in the front, because we don't have the foliage yet to really work with it, and I'd rather create more of the movement at a bigger or a higher part of the tree than down here. So here we might have a nice little side branch, but other than that I want to keep the final look of the tree still more open, I would say. So there we go. So there you have it, just a quick and easy repot on this Ficus Microcarpa. If you have any questions about this genus or about repotting in general, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I will get to answer them as soon as I see them. Hopefully I will also see you in the next video, and until then, goodbye.